Hello. Hello. Okay, let's get this mic up. Awesome. I think we are going to get started anytime soon now. When we are at the desktop screen. Hello. Okay. Okay, awesome. Okay, if any of you are online, can you add a comment? Okay. Awesome. I think folks are getting live now. Okay, I think while people are joining in, I have a simple question. Awesome. I think folks are getting live now. Okay, I think let me just add a timer for 5 minutes, and once we get done with the 5-minute timer, we can probably get started as well. Okay, so we'll get started at 5-minute timer. Till then, I think whoever's here, please drop in a comment. Till then, I'll just do my favorite hobby when I'm not able to do anything. And, I'm waiting for something to happen or something's happening. Just playing this game. Okay, let's get started. Uh, we'll be starting in a couple of minutes. If any of you are here, so then please drop in a comment. Okay, I can see someone Dhruv here. Dhruv Lakera is joined in. So that's great to see. I think while folks are still coming in, I'm just going to, I'm planning to start in at about 5 minute mark. So let's see. Do you guys think I can reach 2048 till then? The Dr. Droid demo will be starting in. Are you guys able to hear me clearly? If you are not, then let me know. I can, you know, stop this music or increase my audio. Let me know either ways if you can hear me clearly. And yeah, I think while okay, I can see Karan is here. Is anyone else? Okay. Anyone else here who's watching this live? While I wait for folks, I'm just trying to, warm up with my favorite game. And let's see. Do you guys think I can reach 2048 by the time this gets done with? Okay. I'm planning to start the live demo and the live investigation debugging on Dr. Droid. If any of you here are engineers and are excited to watch this, just drop in a hello and I'll know that you guys are here. You guys think I'm getting stuck somewhere? You guys think? Hello, Shubham. Nice to see you. We'll be starting off at the 5 minute mark. Till then, I'm seeing if I can reach the 2048 here in this game. Seems like a tough one this time around, but I think it'll be exciting to see if we can do that. Hey, Ved, we'll be starting in at the 5 minute mark from the. Okay, so we are out here now. Let's try again once while we are here. I think at the 5 minute mark we'll be starting off the live streaming of the live investigation of alerts and investigation of production issues that engineers that we have to basically debug manually every time, and then I'll also walk you through how we actually do it using AI. So I'm super excited to be doing this live streams. This is the first live stream that we are doing from Dr. Droid. So if you have any feedback on be it the audio, be it the screen that you're seeing, make sure to upgrade the quality of the streaming in case you're seeing anything blurred. And I can see a couple of more comments. Hey Veda Chandrappa, nice to see you here. I think we're very close to the 5 minute mark now. Okay, we've reached 256 this time around. Okay, seems like a tough place. Okay, very close to the 5 minute mark. Let's see where we land up by that time. Okay, I think now we are at the 5 minute mark now, and we could potentially get started with you Dr. Droid. So let me just finish this game once, and then we'll be right there with all of you here. So super excited to. Okay, so have this done now. So okay, while the background music is on, I'll keep it at a slightly lower tone. Yeah, so that all of you can hear me clearly. So today in this live stream, what we plan to cover is how does Dr. Droid as a platform, you are an engineer, you have a production system that is in place, and you have different components that you might be operating with on a daily basis. How is it that awesome? So let's get started. I'll just give you a walkthrough of what we're planning to do in this today's session, so that it becomes easier for all of you to know or follow the session simply. Right. So we'll be doing a investigation of production alerts and issues for engineering teams. As an engineer, and the core the hey Shahid, how are you? Nice to see you here as well. So in this live stream today, the objective is to do a live session wherein we have production alerts and we have issues that are coming in. As an engineer, you need to look at them and you need to investigate them. So how does Dr. Droid, uh, as an AI agent, make my life easier in doing this? Or how would I go ahead and do that? So I'm personally a data scientist. My personal background is heavily on data science, so I've not done much of infrastructure personally. As an engineer, I've not done much of front end either. So when I look at when I work on production issues and when I have to do that during on call, the there are a lot of places where I either need help or I end up looking up on the internet for a lot of information and a lot of data so that I can keep learning. So in today's session, what we'll be doing is, okay, let's look at how can Dr. Droid be useful here and what can this be. So uh, I'm hopeful that the folks here who are listening in know what Dr. Droid is, but if you don't, then it's an incident response platform that helps you to you know um, investigate and fix production issues faster and do it uh, do it with intelligence or information that you yourself might not know at the get-go. So let me just first log in into Dr. Droid, and you know uh, once we are here at the Dr. Droid platform. Now, before I jump into anything, the one thing that's most relevant is what is the setup right now of this account, and what does the Droid agent understand about this account, right? So the first thing, let me just, hey, I'm a new engineer in the company. Can you give me a walkthrough of uh, what are the core components of infrastructure and application in my company, right? So I'm asking this to the AI and let's see what it responds with. Okay, so it's it's looking up certain information. I can see it searched across certain data points. It went into Kubernetes and ran a command to get some namespaces context. It's getting more context of deployments and pods and services. It's going into Elastic APM. So, okay, now it's gone into Elasticsearch, which is an equivalent of an APM tool. Now it's going into Kubernetes again, and now it's giving me a walkthrough. Okay, thank you, welcome on board. So the company is a microservices based e-commerce platform with 14 services. And okay, finish this one first. So there is a front end facing service, which is front end. There are about, okay, it's giving me some level of scale as well. There's a load generator as well, which simulates user traffic. There's business logic in, okay, these many services. So there's one service for checkout, one for shopping cart, one for payments, one for shipping, etc. There is Redis and Postgres in the team here. So my monitoring tool stack, uh, as per the agent, is Prometheus, Grafana, and there's Kubernetes. So the entire the application is running on a multi-node Kubernetes cluster with 14 namespaces, and it's able to identify all of this. And it's told me, okay, great. So it's given me some tips as well on how I could do that. Okay, so the first thing I could ask it is, hey, uh, okay, now that I'm on call, right? So I'm seeing I'm seeing a bunch of different alerts that are coming in the company right now. I can see some alerts from Grafana, mostly from Grafana, some for Kubernetes, some for recommendation service, some for email service. Hey, are there any active alerts that need my attention? Uh, Active alerts, let me ask that. So, does the agent know what's happening in the company right now so that it helps me to understand better about what the agent does? Okay. Okay, it's found 11 active alerts and it's saying there's errors in recommendation service, there are platform exceptions, there's some data source not found related errors, and there are kube proxy down alerts that are coming up. So the most recent issue seems to be related to recommendation and email service. So yes, I'm definitely interested to investigate these services and these alerts. Does any of you have any recommendation on where I should get started? Anything? Okay, I could start with this. Okay, let me just see. Okay, can we begin with the error in email service because I think it might stop some critical communication to the user. Uh, what is this error exactly? Awesome. So it's helping me. I'm also looking at this alert in parallel, and it's saying that there's been an error in not the recommendation. I want to check up the email service first. So when I'm looking up the email service, there is context of this alert that I've received. It says there's a platform exception that's come up, and it's come in. The error is set up. There are error log based alerts that are set up. So it's checked up those alerts, and it's come up with a uh, it's investigating this now. So the agent here has access to my Grafana loki. So what it has done here is it has gone down and it is basically queried through different pod logs. As you can see, these are detailed logs of the platform of my account of my application in Loki that it has queried. Now, if I have to look up what did it actually query, it actually made this logql query called app equal to email service and error type messages. And in the last 1 hour, because the alert is at that time, and then it went on to check the metrics for the same service, like the error rate, the throughput, the latency. Now it's saying root cause is order item object has no attribute quantity. Okay, the error messages fail to calculate this. There is a service error. The email service is trying to calculate order statistics and expects this. This is okay. Okay, can you? Okay, yeah, this is told me, right? Yes. Can you investigate the code and tell me what could be done to fix this? Right. So let me just ask it to investigate the code and see if it's able to do that. Now, okay, seems like it's failed somewhere. Let me try it again. Okay. Okay. So it has access to uh, this repository is not allowed for code analysis. So I think I don't have access to the repository. I've not given the right access to the repository's code review, code reading here. So hence I'm not able to actually access the specific part, but it has come up with a recommendation. So what this means is, okay, it does not matter whether all the integrations that your team has, whether they have been given or not, it still gives you the most helpful possible recommendation. For instance, if you have not given the code access, it's still reading through the logs, it's reading through the stack trace, and bases the error pattern from the logs and the trace, it's come up with a recommendation of adding some error handling with a fallback and fixing the name of the attribute that it thinks is the problem. So does it maps alert patterns to a specific service? Yes, it could do that if there are services. Okay, Shayad, now you're asking how does it map these alerts to services, right? So this is a test account, and let's see if there are any services in this account. Where did the investigation go? Let me go back to that investigation. Yes. So uh, I have not created these manually. These have been auto-generated using the generate service catalog capability. So it has actually identified the different services that exist in the company basis the integrations that are added. For example, the APM tool like Elastic or Signos or Datadog or the Kubernetes cluster, and basis that it has generated it. Now, the way it actually works out is once I add my integrations, you go to the agent setup and you click here to retrain the agent, which will train the agent on the latest integrations. So after you add an integration, you would typically end up doing this agent context. But if I want to generate a service, I could just do a generate service, and with this, it would actually end up populating the services that have been created here. Now, I also saw a couple of alerts related to Kubernetes. Right? Let us go back there and check how that operation works. I think, yes. So there was an alert called kubeproxy down infra alert. And if I go even a bit longer, so I can see there are some alerts related to persistent volume filling up or CPU overcommitment infra alert. Okay. Now I want to investigate this alert because I don't really know what this means at this point. CPU overcommitment infra alert. This is something that's new to me as an engineer. As I had mentioned before, I'm not super well versed with Kubernetes as I should ideally be, but I'm learning on the job. So there are some things that I'm not completely aware of, and helps me to, basically be able to interact with it. I want to ask it a question as well. So before it actually goes in and investigates, okay, let it finish the investigation. My question is, hey, can you explain the alert to me, what it means, and should I be concerned? Seems like it has already identified an issue in a certain pod resource request and limits. So from those commands, it's able to actually get to that. So, uh, okay. It's also found out, okay, it's given me some commands to run here, which it is run. Okay. While it's investigating, I think, yeah, so I think, okay. So I've completed the investigation of the CPU overcommitment. Here's what it has learned. Most CPU intensive. Why did this alert fire? Okay. This cluster has 32% more CPU limits allocated than physically available. Now, what does it mean is that there could be a risk of resource starvation if multiple pods spike to their limits, then they'll compete for CPU, causing throttling. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Basically, I have multiple pods in a cluster, and some of the pods are having a CPU, like it said, there was a there was a CPU overcommitment issue on the node, on certain nodes, actually on all nodes according to this, two of them at 5 and 6x and one at 2x. Now it's given me this wherein it's telling me that, okay, need to look into the metric having absurdly high limits, right? So one of these pods is actually having a very high limit that I need to review and potentially avoid, because the risk here is, let's say I have 6 or 7 services within 6 or 7 pods within one of my nodes, and some of these pods in the cluster basically have higher CPU utilization, then there could be competition. Or like there are pod restarts as well that are happening. So clearly looks like this could be potentially correlated. So it's also given me a dashboard here. Okay, now I think it also queried a certain dashboard, right? So yes, so it actually queried this dashboard. Let me see, what dashboard did it query? It dashboard the Kubernetes compute resources cluster. It actually is the same link that it just shared here, right? So it had queried this dashboard, and in this dashboard, I think only the time range is different. Interesting. So here the time range is actually, what time was the alert at? Right. So I think this is the time of the alert at which this dashboard is, and this is for the current time. So when I go to this dashboard, I can see, okay, this is the dashboard that it has actually analyzed some of the metrics from and given me the analysis for. So it's actually analyzed quite a bit of metrics, right? So I can see that here now. Okay, so I think now I have a clarity here. Cool. So I don't really need to ask it why, what does this alert mean? I understand what it means. Cool. Thanks for this. So what it means is I need to review the allocation. Hey Sharvari, I need to review the allocation of memory to different. Was it memory that it mentioned to me that I need to review? Right. So uh, no, the allocation of cores to each of these pods. Got it. How should I go about assigning cores to it, and what distribution would you recommend? Now, this will help me because when I share this investigation with my teammates, I can also tell it that, hey, for this investigation, the core issue that's identified is actually related to resource starvation that's happening because some CPU usage competition is happening between pods, and it seems like it's happening because of uneven distribution, right? So let me just, is it, it's still ongoing. I think we can come back to this in a minute. Uh, so yeah, so let me just see if it's actually investigated this as well. Not yet. Okay, so yes, now if I, where is that URL again? So if I go to this URL and I see what the investigation is done till now, let me ask it again. Thanks for this. And Sharvari, what we are doing here is we've seen a Kubernetes alert related to CPU overcommitment in one of the clusters. So we are trying to understand, and it's identified, the agent is helping me identify. I was not completely well versed with Kubernetes, so it went into analyzing some of the metrics related to Kubernetes, that like some of the Grafana dashboards related to Kubernetes, and ran some commands in the cluster. And it told me that there is an uneven distribution wherein some of the pods have extremely high CPU limit, setup, which is actually making it hog the CPUs or potentially hog it in cases there. So now I've asked it, okay, what could be the best practices here? So it's actually told me this is what I could actually, make the distribution across different components or different services so that I can actually do a better job. So now when I send it to my team, wait, this is super helpful. Thank you, Agent Droid. Thanks, Agent. So I just now need to look at this, limits that is set up, and then discuss with my, DevOps lead on why these specific limits have been such extremely high, and if we could reconfigure them so that our services don't go down in terms of, did it determine which node metrics are the most relevant to this alert? Yes, I'll come to that as well on how it actually determined which metrics or which dashboards are actually relevant. And it's also given me some emergency fixes. So I can discuss with my lead engineer and I can ask them, okay, how is it that I could potentially fix this? So when we look at it here, how did it actually come up with, what node metrics are most relevant to this alert? So when we look at this, it is actually when it actually began the investigation on this alert, it actually went in and wow, it's it searched for Kubernetes CPU commitment and then CPU usage related. So it found a handful of different dashboards and panels, and then it looked up all other related alerts that could be happening within the team right now of critical severity only. But yeah, so yes, Shai, to your question, yes, it is basically being able to do that by actually searching through all the Grafana dashboards, etc. It actually has the knowledge of all the dashboards that exist. And like I was saying, when you actually sign up, all you need to do is after you add your integrations, you need to just train the agent, right? So when you train the agent, it starts understanding all your monitoring tools, all your dashboards and services, and even if you have any documents. I think in this demo account, I do not have any documents at the moment, but I've been able to understand, okay, how I could actually fix this. So now all I need to do is, this is the proof, right? Like I initially, typically what I would end up doing is I would copy these specific outputs of whatever the screenshots of my dashboard, etc., and send it to my teammates saying, hey, there's a high spike within the CPU that's happening because there is a overcommitment alert that's come up. But now what I would do is I would just copy this link and send it to my teammates saying that, hey, I found this issue and this is how I think we could fix it, and this is the recommendation. Should I go ahead and do it or not? So Kanishk, I see. Okay, you faced this issue recently on your cluster. Yes, this could definitely help you there as well. Now, let's explore a little more. This was an account which was a demo account on with microservices. I have another account set up where there are a lot of other alerts there. So we could go into that account and check out if there are any alerts or any other issues that we could investigate. So what have we done till now? Right, until now we've been able to actually look at some errors in Loki, but it gave me some recommendations, but then it did not have code access, right? So it only gave me recommendations. In the second case, I was facing a in the second live stream debugging that I did. In the second case, it was actually having a I was facing a Kubernetes cluster CPU overcommitment issue. Well, I think, yeah, overcommitment issue, and then it investigated and helped me find that the pods have not been given reasonable CPU usage limits. So I need to change. I need to discuss with my platform lead, basically, if we need to reconfigure the cluster's CPU core distribution. So great. So now we've done two of these. Now let me jump into another account and see what we can find out there. This will probably be the last one as we are close to the 30-minute mark, and we'll probably do another session next week as well with more alerts and more different stacks. Now, when I say different stacks, that's because the way the platform operates is that the platform understands your cloud providers like your Azure or like your AWS. It understands even your databases like any of the SQL compatible databases or your Postgres or your BigQuery, any different database that you might be using. The agent has understanding of that as well. So maybe I think next week what we could do is we could look at how it would actually investigate infrastructure issues in my database, in my Redis cluster, and help me debug those as well. But for now, I think one of the other things that would be interesting here is to see how it actually investigates or actually ends up raising PRs for production issues. So this is one of the repositories that we have in production where, you know, Dr. Droid is present as an agent and it continuously listens to alert. This is the same account with which I've logged in here. As you can see, there should be some, if we look at all the alerts that are coming in here, there are alerts from all the different services like Prototype, Redis, and a handful of different ones. So here, if you look at it, in one of this other service, Dr. Droid AI automated debugging improvement. So Dr. Droid has actually raised a PR. I have not done this manually. So this PR is created as a part of investigation. So there was an investigation that it has done. Let me see what is this about. So there was an alert that came up, alert search error, no alert index found for account. Alerts indexing may not be set up. This was an exception that came in Fast API, in AIOps Fast API, which is the same as the one that you saw here on GitHub, right? So this same repository wherein we saw the alert coming up. Now, in this same alert, now let's see what is the investigation that it has done before it actually raised the PR. I can see that in the PR, what it's saying is that it's made a handful of changes in 3 different files across my OpenSearch or my agent context wherein the alert indexing is failed. So it has created a PR. Now, root cause, the alert indexing feature, which was introduced not too long ago, it knows when this feature was introduced, which caused this error. This account is an existing account without the alerts index. This index is only created when alerts are indexed through the alert ingestion pipeline, not when the search function is called. Okay, so before we jump into this, what we could do is we could ask the agent, hey, the same question again here as well. I'm a new engineer in this team. Can you please give me a TLDR of the application and infrastructure setup in my company? Keep it short. Okay, I think this is good. So while it's actually helping me understand the entire company's architecture and infrastructure better, let us see what it's saying here. It's saying the error flow is user queries and AI chat and investigation helper function calls search alerts. So a search alerts function is called somewhere, and when it calls, it is looking for an index in OpenSearch. When it does not find the index, the error is logged using the Sentry. And now what it's saying is it's improved the handling here for ensuring that even when an index is not present, the user does not have a functional failure or an exception that comes up, but they get a graceful handling saying that, okay, uh, the index is not present at the moment, you need to index it. So now when I've asked it what's happening in the system, what it's saying me is, hey, welcome to the team. uh, DR is this. Your company builds AI-powered observability and incident management platform that helps teams investigate and resolve production issues. And the core application is Dr. Droid AI Ops platform. The tech stack is front end is the Next.js repository named as Falcon. The backend is a fast API named as Podracer. There is a database, Postgres and Superbase. There is authentication with Clerk, which is a tool. There is OpenAI based chat investigations. There are 50 plus services in this company. There are a bunch of them in Datadog called Prototype, Django, Holocron. There are in Sentry a handful of different projects that are managed here. There are Grafana dashboards, and it even knows the database schema of the critical tables. Okay, so it's not just gotten access to database, but it's also gotten access to the schema of the tables in database. So in case I need to query the database, it knows how to do that as well. So now let's jump into, I think there were some of these services here that were mentioned. Let me pick up one of these services where I'm seeing the most alerts right now. I think, let me just go back here. I can see a handful of different alerts. The most number of alerts in the last few hours are for prototype service, right? So I can ask it, hey, Dr. Droid, hey, can you look into prototype service and tell me if the service health is deteriorated? I see a bunch of different alerts and issues related to that. Now let's see what it's doing here. This is the final investigation that we are going to do in this live stream today. So in case you have any questions, please drop them right here in the chat so that I can respond to you before the live session is closed. Okay, let's see that exited it here again. Did it? It's investigating this. I think there should be a restart or retry button here so that, okay, I can see it's failing again. Let me just refresh the page once. Now when I've asked it, okay, what all are the different issues that are going on, it's looked up the services, resources, it's looked up the alerts. Okay, and interesting. So now when I look at it, I can see that there is a new error that's come up in my system. This is just now, like a minute ago, that has come up. And this error is saying that there's an anthropic error wherein the prompt is too long for the agent to understand. Let me investigate this alert from scratch. Let's see how that operates here. So I just asked it to investigate that alert. So it's saying that the token limit is reached on a certain instance, and it's saying, okay, let me just ask it, can you go through the logs for the pod racer service as well? Okay, so now what it's done is it's going through GitHub and trying to analyze the code in the repository, analyze the API to understand the implementation, why prompts are exceeding the 10 million, 1 million tokens limit, and focus on how it could improve that. So now it's actually set up the repository, it's set up a Claude instance, and it's now reviewing the repository to identify why is there a token limit that's being enforced here. So while it's doing that, let me show you what else the platform is able to do. As the users as a team receives alerts, you can see that there are issues that the agent is creating by itself. Now when the agent is creating issues, some of these issues, let me just restrict it to one of the services that I really care about right now, right? So there are a handful of issues related to this service. Now what it's saying is there are multiple different alerts that are coming up, wherein now it's actually grouping different alerts together basis the culprit or the API that exists in that alert, and it's grouping them together so that when I look at it, I know instantly that okay, all of these are related to the Postgres instance versus all of these are related to a client disconnection issue that's happening, and there is a PR that's already raised for this. So there is a significant level of grouping that's done here. Yes, so Karthik is asking me, hey, can it create a diagram of your infrastructure? Yes. So let me just see if I can show you that. Now, should I go to here? I go to services. So it has the list of all the services that it has identified, and it has created a knowledge graph about the company here. So you can see that while I come back to this, you can see here that you can see here that it has actually created an entire service diagram, and it can tell me what all different services are impacted and how many issues related to those services exist. Obviously, in a real life situation, looking at this at a global level would not make sense because teams end up having thousands of different services and hundreds of different infrastructure components, Karthik. So yes, the knowledge graph does exist, but looking at it in isolation might not be the best of ideas. Let me just look at Podracer, for instance, right? So instead, what can be done is you restrict your focus to one of the services and look at it in a bit more detail. But yes, it does create the entire knowledge graph, and it does that by actually being able to go into the service cat by creating the entire upstream, downstream dependencies automatically. You can also further go and edit them, but you don't necessarily need to. Now, I think there's another question from Sharvari saying, can we discuss one of the closed issues end to end with its RCA that has been done by the platform? Yes. So let us look at some of the resolved and resolved issues as well, so that we can go through that and see what it's done there. When grouping alerts, how does it decide which alerts belong together? Is it by service, API, or error type? Great question, Sharvari. Uh, Great question, Shahid. And I'll come to that as well. Let's just take a couple of minutes and go through this end to end. I think I'd already gone through this one end to end, wherein we saw from how it looked at that alert. I have basically enabled auto investigation for this service. So if it finds any alert from that service, it will automatically start investigating it, Sharvari. And if you look at here, what is happening, right? So yes, so now we can see a bunch of different alerts. Okay, great. This is a completely different alert, recovered, and it's auto resolved as well. This is related to Celery worker prototype prod errors. So Celery worker prototype is one of the uh, one of the you know uh, services in the system, and there are alerts related to it that came up. And here in this case, it's identified that okay, it's closed the issue as well. So now we can ask it to investigate that one. But I think what you're asking for is, can we look at an issue that's been resolved and that's actually been completely resolved, right? So I think this is the relevant one in that case, wherein for that issue, let's go to that issues page specifically. Now, if you see this specific issues page, this issue, it has a PR that's raised. So effectively now it's up to the team to decide whether or not it wants to merge it or not. Now, but if you look at it, no alert index has been found for account this. Now, what has it done here? When it got this alert, it looked up what all could be relevant. Now when it looked up the services, dashboards, runbooks, anything that was there in the system. It understood the error in a much more deeper fashion, like what would I do as a human, right? Like I get this alert, the first thing I typically end up doing if I did not use Dr. Droid is I would jump to Sentry and I would try to look into the data here. Okay, what is the alert that came up? What is the impact here? I'd probably go down and look at the breadcrumbs and payload. I would not go here because there could be sensitive information, but it's gone and done that completely. After that, now that it knows that it's from Podracer's service, it went in and queried logs. It went in and queried logs for the service. Now it's actually picked up a service ID. Now this service ID DIG310 would actually be coming in from here. DIG310 is the web service that is there for the front-end edition, right? So this is the backend service. This is the backend service, the same Podracer service that it is, the path is Podracer. So it's actually queried the logs for Podracer service, and then it went in and checked the recent commits. Oh, that's how it knows that this deployment was actually released on 4th November. This is a feature that was released on 4th November. Then to actually investigate or analyze the code, first it went in and analyzed the code in the repository. That's what I would do, right? Okay, I saw the exception. Now I saw the release. I would jump to cursor. After jumping to cursor, I would go into analyzing, okay, how did this error actually propagate or come in. Now it ended up doing that a couple of times. Now it's saying, why did it do that? So I can read the prompt on why did it enter into the code. The first time it entered into the code because it wanted to understand the context of where this error is coming from and why is it coming. The second time it went, it said continue the analysis, now examine in this specific file. Now that it identified that, it went into looking into the specific file. Now, once it understood both of those, that's when it actually decided that, hey, now go in and fix the alert. And these are the changes that you need to do. Now, it actually even gave in like, what files should it modify and what function should it edit. Now, this recommendation was actually given by the previous analysis that it did. So if we look at this, in this single investigation that has happened here, before it raised the PR, this is exactly what I would do as a human, right? So this is the third situation that we're talking about here. Alert comes in, exception came in, looked into the stack trace first, which is what Sentry provided me, then looked into logs for more related logs, and then what did it do? Then it went in into, let's look at it again. Yes, then it went in into analyzing the GitHub commits. The GitHub commits actually helped it to understand, okay, what is the recent merges that have happened, what are the recent commits that have happened, and then it went into analyzing the code. So effectively, it looked into logs, it looked into traces, the stack trace, and the GitHub. First the commit and then the actual code. So commit was a representative of the deployments and then the code analysis. So this is how Dr. Droid was able to do an end-to-end investigation here. Okay, this is a completely different one. I think we were on this one. Yes, we were on this one. So as you can see here, this is the PR that was read. Right? Will it create any runbook and reference it in next investigations? That's a great question. Yes, it does, because the agent is basically gotten its own recommendation. So what it does is it creates a daily report saying that today these are the different alerts that came in, or these are the different issues that came in today. And it could, in these recommendations, let me show you the recommendations section. So in any of these, it could actually, it creates multiple different types of recommendations. So we are actually, as a team, honestly speaking, creating runbooks is something, or creating docs is something that we have not been able to prioritize a lot. But the day I want to, I can see that there are runbooks recommendations that it has created for different alerts over time, right? These are not just from today, these are significantly from past issues as well. So it's actually able to go in. Okay, so this is from issue 2649, which was a month ago. So basis the incident that happened here, it actually ended up creating a runbook for me. And once this is saved into the platform, it would automatically repurpose and reuse it. But the great part here is that it's not just the runbooks that are relevant. Even the past investigations can be referred by the agent, because it knows all the past issues that happened and the different reasons for which the different issues might have happened. So it can access that information as well while actually investigating future alerts or future issues related to that. Okay, so I think there are a couple of more questions that are unanswered. I'll try to wrap it up with these two questions. Shahid is asked, when grouping alerts, how does it decide which alerts being grouped belong together? Is it by service, API, or error type? I'll get to that. Second question is, when generating the PR, how does it decide which code changes are to be included versus just suggestion for review? Right? So here, firstly, when it raises the PR, when it only wants to understand the code better and not necessarily, give a fixed recommendation, it would use the function, which is, there's a different function for reviewing the code. Okay, 1 second. Let me just open this investigation again. Nope, this is not the investigation. This is an investigation for Celery. Is this the investigation for the alert? Yes, so this was the alert where it actually raised the PR, right, Shahid? So it raised the PR. So if you realize, when it only wants to analyze the code or suggest you something, it will just use the function GitHub analyze code. When it is using the function GitHub analyze code, the objective is to identify or understand the code and create a deeper understanding there. Versus when it is confident that okay, I am at a point where I know what to fix, it actually goes in and triggers the GitHub fix code error function. So that's how it differentiates between whether to analyze the code or whether to fix the code, right? And also in this case, the agent never has access to the master or the main or the default branch of the repository. It would always end up generating a PR and then raising it in a different branch than the main one. If we go into this, you can see, let's see what branch did it create in. Fix automated debugging with a certain UUID, which I assume is the timestamp. The epoch timestamp. So it's actually picking this up and doing it on this different branch and then raising a PR. So I would not be at a risk at all in terms of would the agent be able to make any changes in my code without my permission, right? So yes. So now the second question on how does it group alerts together. So when you look at it, when the alerts are coming in together, the agent is deciding what. So there is, when you look at the agents that you have, there is an investigation agent that is there by default, and there is a grouping agent that's there by default. So your grouping is not happening basis some cookie cutter rules that if the alerts are of the same service, merge them together, or if the alerts are of the same API, merge them together, or if the alerts are of the same error type, merge them together. The way the grouping happens is the agent has context that okay, now for instance, let me just show you some of these wherein these different, there could be situations wherein there is a PromQL alert that's been merged together with some other alerts as well. So for these different alerts, there could be different reasons why it's been merged together. And that's something that the agent decides basis the root cause. So for instance, let's say it has investigated a certain alert and then a new alert comes in. So it knows what is the most likely reason why that previous alert came in. So when the new alert comes in, it would actually look at uh, doing the grouping basis the root cause instead of doing the grouping basis just the service, because there could be situations wherein there are two alerts, one from a database, one from a service, and at some point, at maybe today they came in together and they were correlated to an infrastructure issue, but maybe another day they came in completely independently and came up because of different reasons. So that's why we have an agent that you have for grouping, and that agent you can look into doing more tweaks there, but we've never really, as a user, we've not, as a company, we've created features for you to be able to tweak your grouping logics on how the agent decides. But as a company, we have not yet felt the need wherein the grouping needs to be improved significantly or the grouping needs to be tweaked. At least right now, we've been comfortable with the out of the box grouping agent that the platform provides. Yeah, I think I've covered most of the questions, and we have done a handful of investigations. There was just one, yes. So this was the last investigation that I wanted to walk you through. This is for a service called Celery Worker Prototype. So this is a Celery service. I'm not sure if you know what Celery is, but if you ask it here what a Celery is, it would know that. Now, if we look into what it's actually done, it knows what are the downstream dependencies of the Celery Worker prototype service. And then, because it's a recovered alert, it is going into the past data to actually understand, it has gone to a start time and an end time. Because it's a recovered alert, it knows when that alert came in, and it's post facto. It's doing this investigation retrospectively to identify what went wrong when that alert came, and not looking at the service right now. So it went to Datadog, checked in a handful of different metrics. It went into the same, if you saw the previous one, the service was on another tool called Render, versus here, the service metrics and logs are in another tool called Datadog. So it knows which service belongs to which tool or which services data is in which tool. And it went in, actually analyzed the logs. Then it went in and it knows that the downstream is Redis, Postgres, Kafka. So it decided, maybe because of the logs or maybe otherwise, it decided to also query the metrics of Redis. Interesting. And also for Postgres, it decided to look at downstream metrics as well. And these are then it again went in, okay, interesting findings. I can see only one error around the alert time, and the logs show info level messages marked as error. Wow. So it's actually identified that we are doing, we are mislabeling our logs, which means that there's probably something that we could do about that as well. But if you look at the stream of thought or the way the agent is actually operating, it is actually able to differentiate that, okay, this is a log line with the status, with the severe, what do you call it, with the status as error code or the level as error, but it's actually not an error, right? So it's actually knowing that, okay, it's an info level message, but it's marked as an error. So likely a logging misconfiguration. So now it's actually requerying the logs to only query the actual logs which are error type. Now let's see what it does. Wow. So it also knows that, okay, this was a service that was deployed through Argo CD, but the app name is prototype for this one, but it found that there's no recent deployments for this service. So then it went into Kubernetes as well. It ran a handful of different Kubernetes commands. Now it knows that uh, the pods are running with replica set so and so, but the alert is referenced to different replica sets. Wow. I personally would not have probably gone into looking into the replica set that was involved in that alert. At least maybe some of my other team members might have, but I might have not gone to this depth yet. As I'm like relatively new to backend engineering and infrastructure management, so now it's saying that the old replica set was actually scaled down, and then it's going into describing the deployment, and then it actually went into looking into the commits. Now I have the full picture. The current deployment is this versus the alert was from an older pod. Let me check if there was any actual task failure and then summarize the findings. There's only one space error that it's found out, actually no zero, except it's saying zero exceptions. And yeah, so this was a transient self-recovered error, likely caused by traffic burst or dependency stream, but it's not a code bug. But so what it's telling me is that this was a very transient error, and I could either look into thresholds or I could, and it's given me multiple different recommendations here on how I could handle handle monitoring better for the future, right? It's saying a bunch of different recommendations. I could fix the logging configuration, I could tune the thresholds, I could improve the monitoring of the traffic patterns, and yeah, I think yeah. So wow. So now we've done another investigation here, which is investigation post facto investigation. This was actually a post facto investigation of a service having an error rate alert, right? So in this, it it went through its knowledge graph, then identified downstream services as well, checked metrics and logs around the time of the alert for both the service itself as well as multiple downstream services. Interesting. And then it it found a couple of different anomalies and reported them back to me. Cool. I think yeah, I think this was a great live debugging session. Today I learned about, what did I learn today that I did not know in the past? I learned today that what is a CPU overcommitment issue and how that could actually risk my system. I also learned about how it actually found out an exception in a new feature. I found out about a new feature that I did not know. I think some of my other team members actually released that feature. So I learned about a new feature just by interacting with the agent for about 30 minutes. One, I learned about upgraded what did I learn? What did I learn today? Upgraded my knowledge about how Kubernetes works. I learned about a new feature in my company that has recently been released. And the third thing that I learned about was uh, the nature, the transient nature of some errors and how I could improve the monitoring of those errors or issues. Great. So I think with this, I'd be happy to wrap up the live stream session here. Unless any of you here have any other questions, let me know if you have any other questions. Otherwise, we could give it a uh, you know wrap up and complete here. And while we are wrapping up, I'll wait for any of if any of you have any questions. And in the meantime, I'll get back to my you know the thing that I enjoy doing the most in between work, which is this. So yes, let's see if I can I can reach my close to my highest score here. I think there's some stage pressure here wherein when I'm live streaming I never really crossed 1024, whereas I've reached 4084 when I'm not live streaming. So what do you guys think? Yeah. So yeah, I think we can wrap up the session. You guys are free to drop off. There's no other demos that we'd be doing or live debugging that we'd be doing. But yes, I've now gotten a great agenda for next week, which is to cover some database related alerts and maybe see how the agent actually investigates database related alerts, and yeah, anything else that you'd be curious to cover in the next session? I think there was some comments around understanding how runbooks could be generated or how past investigations could be referenced to it. So I could probably take that in as well during one of the next sessions. But is there any other suggestion on what you'd like to cover? Great session. Okay, Shavari. Great. So our platform, I'll take a quick pause here just to remind you that our platform is actually free to sign up and try. We have a self-service platform where you can add n number of these integrations without actually having to do anything else. You can just set up different kinds of integrations and experiment with seeing how the agent could actually help you improve the speed at which you can fix production issues, as well as improve your own knowledge about what production issues are about, what they mean and what they could mean specifically in context of your company. And yeah, I think that's the one reminder. Just sign up, or if you don't have the access or permissions to sign up but you want your team to sign up, you can book a call with me and I can help you with all the 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 requirements from a data compliance or organizational perspective. If you want to if you need any help in terms of getting onboarded as a company instead of getting onboarded as just an engineer, right? So yes, so I think we're good with this. In another couple of minutes I'll just drop off myself as well, maybe when I reach the goal that I'm thinking about here. Let's see when. Very close now. Okay, interesting. How does the agent reconcile conflicting signals across services and metrics to assign a root cause? And can it quantify its confidence for prioritization? That's a great question. Um, okay, I'll just take that up. Just give me 1 second. Okay, yeah. How does the agent reconcile conflicting signals across services and metrics to assign a root cause? Well, the thing is, the way the agent is designed, it has no restriction on the amount of data or the number of data points that it can query during an investigation. So there was a CPU load high. I'm not sure what this was about, but if you look at it, the number of different data sources and the number of data points that it can query continuously, right? Like if it finds a hypothesis that fails, it could definitely go in and look at more data points to validate one or more of those hypotheses. Now, uh, that's how it actually ends up deciding what a root cause could be. Now when you look at the root cause, there is a confidence score that it provides on the root cause that it has identified, and the way this confidence score operates is that depending on how many independent or dependent signals it's able to actually correlate to identify the issue, it would define its confidence score. For example, if it has, let's assume we are in a world wherein you signed up but you never added any integration because you don't have the permission to do that. In that case, it would give you lower recommendation, lower confidence scores, because it is just giving you a hypothesis basis what it's basis what it's being asked, versus when you give an integration access to one tool, it might do a confidence score which is low because it was only able to validate that from one place. But let's say if you add a GitHub and a database and a log, then it knows that it can go across multiple of these sources, and if it sees it across multiple of these sources, that's when the confidence score would be relatively higher, versus if it sees it in very few or some limited sources out of that, then the confidence would be relatively lower, right? So that's how the confidence evaluation actually operates within how it gives you the root cause. So I hope this was helpful, and I really enjoyed the session giving you a walkthrough of how the platform operates, how the agent operates. So if you have any questions, just feel free to drop in a message to us, or sign up, and we have a chat window here that you can initiate at any point, and that chat window directly interacts with us. You could ask us anything here, or you could basically just book a meeting with us from our website. So either ways works for us. Uh, Happy to answer any more questions that you might have about the platform, about Dr. Droid, about the agent, or any other questions. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, now I'm back to this. Yay. Okay, I do see a path. Oh, wow. I think my highest score will hit only after I end the stream and not before that. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the session and had a great time. So more integrations and more data points means higher confidence in root cause. Yes, exactly. That's accurate, Shayad. Okay. Yeah, I think just feel free to exit the stream, guys. As soon as I get a game over on this game, that's when I'll do the stream exit on my side. Come on. Yes. Nice one. Whoa. Yay. Whoops. Should have done better. Come on. Oh man. Okay, not bad. 8,000. My highest score is 25,000. Maybe in the next stream I might hit something that's higher. Awesome. I think I'll stop the streaming now, and with this, goodbye everyone. Have a great rest of the day if you are in the Western Hemisphere, or if you are in India or any other time